You are listening to episode 97 of the Confident Coaches podcast, the one where you start taking more action. All right, let's go. Welcome to the Confident Coaches podcast, a place for creating the self-confidence you need to do your best work as a life coach. If you want to bring more boldness, more resilience, and more joy to your work, this is the place for you. I'm your host, Amy Latta. Let's dive in. Hello, my confident coach. How's everybody doing out there today? How are you doing out there today? So listen, you right now, listening to this right now, are you in my free training this week? Like every single one of you listening right now, you should be in there. If you're listening the week of September 14th, the date that this episode drops, I am hosting a Make More Offers training. It's free. It's 5 days. It started on Monday. This podcast drops on Tuesday. We're going through Friday. It's literally everything you need to make more offers, get more engagement, and get more consults this week. There's so much magic happening in this group. It is a revamped version of the training I did over the summer. I have fine-tuned it. I've made it simpler. I've made it easier. It's all of the goodness. It's all of the same magic. Like people signed clients off of that one training that I did. I'm doing it again, only better. And the Make More Offers training is kicking off the enrollment for the October class of Confident Coaches Mastermind. Because Confident Coaches Mastermind, CCM, that is your path to 100K. That is the work that all of the tools you've heard me talk about here in the podcast. We are on episode 97. Everything that you've heard from me has culminated into this path to 100K. So if you are a long-time listener, first-time caller, right? You know that this is your work. I know you want in. I know you know that this is your work. And this is the reason now is the time to apply and get enrolled. If we've just met, it's possible that we've just met. And if so, hi, how are you? My name's Amy. Happy to have you here. Aries, fire sign. Then connect with me. If we've just met, make sure that you're connecting with me on Instagram or on Facebook or email so that you can get enrolled in the free training so you can get a little bit more of like what I'm all about, how I coach, how I teach, my style, my flair, that special something that only I have. Does that jive with you so that you can see how all of this goodness in this podcast actually works and put it into action? All right. That's what we're doing in the free training. Okay. So Make More Offers free trainings happening right now. And the enrollment for the October class is happening right now. Also, get you in there, my friends. Okay. And this episode, it's not unrelated. Of course not. It's almost like I planned this shit or something, right? Yes. The training that I'm doing has a lot to do with this week's podcast. Because it's all about taking action. One of the things that I see time and time again in the mastermind is actually a lack of action. Now, I know, whoa, hold on a second. Amy has just spent 90 some odd episodes telling me that I have to believe. And she's talked about different ways of believing, different ways of unbelieving, and how to get your belief where it needs to be. Right? Because your thoughts become things. If you want more clients, if you want more consults, if you want more engagement, you need to be working on your thinking. You need to be working on what you believe and what you don't believe, how to unbelieve. What are you believing that you don't have to? What do you want to believe instead? What's your next best step? This podcast, it's all about your next best steps. We're going to be talking about next best steps right here, how to take more action. You can't leave that part out. Like it's really important to remember, like at first we come into this like only action focused, right? And then we're not taking any action because we have all these thoughts and feelings and we've been ignoring those and we're just like, I got to act my way there. Maybe I'll get confident eventually at some point when I create the result that I want. And I'm like, no, that's not how this works. If you want confidence actually comes before the action, right? But it's really important to remember that the coaching tool that I used called the model, there's thoughts and there's feelings and there's actions. And then there's results. The actions you take do directly create the results that you're going to get. You can't just think and just believe and just feel and then go sit on the couch. You do actually have to do and show up. Or you can't just think and believe and go write one post or one post every 10 days and think that that's going to be enough. So when it comes to taking more action, it's consistency, it's what you're talking about, and whether or not you're evaluating the action that you're taking. So I'm going to use a strength training analogy throughout this episode so you can kind of identify where you are in this taking more action or not taking more action step. And I'm going to use this analogy because you're going to say, oh, that becomes so much clearer when you start talking about wanting to get stronger. So I want you to think about somebody who wants to get a stronger upper body, right? They want to be stronger upstairs. They want stronger arms, stronger chest, stronger back. They want to be able to lift heavy things, right? And I don't actually know if you know this. Have I ever shared this with you? This might be news to you. I don't know if you know this. I had my personal training certification for like a hot minute way back in the day. It's true. It's a very little known fact that I am actually, or was at one point 10 years ago, a certified personal trainer. Now, most of what I've learned has left my brain because I have replaced it all with coaching because that's just not what I do anymore. It wasn't something I did for very long. I used it as part of my health coaching 10 years ago when I was first getting started. But changing your body and growing your business are so very, very similar. It takes a lot of the same mindset work, and it does actually take a lot of parallel action. Obviously not direct action, but a lot of very similar action. So let's say you want to get those stronger arms. So like, what do? You go get a 3 or 5 pound weight and you go do some bicep curls. And it feels good, right? You're like, look at me pumping iron. Now, maybe you had to do some belief work and some thought work to get to that place where you were ready to go do some bicep curls with some 3 to 5 pound weights. But once you're doing it, you're like, look at me. And then you're done with the curls and you put the weights down, and then like you don't pick them back up for like another week or 10 days or maybe longer. And then you pick them up again and you go and you just like do bicep curls again with the same weights. And if you continue that pattern, I want you to think about that. If you continued lifting 3 to 5 pound weights, just doing bicep curls every week, 10 days, couple of weeks, if that was your pattern, you'd kind of understand why maybe your arms wouldn't be getting stronger, right? Like you can see in the strength training world, you're not going to get a really strong upper body if that's what you were doing. You took action, and that action took belief in yourself, and it took your willingness to get uncomfortable. But it just wasn't enough, like at all, right? Doing 10 to 12 bicep curls with 3 to 5 pound weights every once in a while, it's just not going to create much in the results. And neither is posting on Facebook every once in a while. Neither is posting once every 10-ish days or so. And here's the thing, it might feel like climbing a mountain at the time to create that post and to put it out there, but then it doesn't net very many results because it's just one at a time. It's just one random post out there at a time. There's this graph that I remember from marketing class way back in college. There's a name. I did not look it up. Don't hate me, but I'm going to give you a couple of categories. You can Google that and you can Google the name of the graph. In college, because that was like way back in the day. If you think my personal training certification was way back in the day, college is even farther back, all right? But essentially what this graph is that all buyers fit into one of 5 categories. I remember the categories. The categories: innovators, early adopters, early majority, late majority, and laggards. What a terrible name, laggards, right? And it looks a lot like a bell curve. So I want you to imagine like a bell curve. So it's a much smaller percentage on the ends. So way small in the innovators, way small in the laggards, a little bit more in the early adopters, but really the bulk of your buyers, like 70% of your buyers, are going to be in either the early majority or the late majority. They're going to be in the middle. Now listen. We love us some innovators and early adopters. These are people who do not need a lot of information from you. They do not need a lot of experience with you in order to say yes to you. They tend to be risk takers. They tend to go all in on first sight. They don't need a lot of evidence from you. They just need to know that they love you and they want to work for you. And then they buy. We love these people. These are like the people that were in line for the iPhone 1, right? Like we all thought they were crazy, but that's what I'm talking about. We love them, right? Don't we wish all clients could be innovators and early adopters? But the fact is, they're not. That's not how the market works at all. So if you're only posting once a week, or you're only getting out to a networking event every once a month, or maybe every couple of months, or you're only getting out there into the public every once in a while, your chances of getting a client, other than really an innovator or an early adopter, which is a small percentage of your buying people, like your chances are pretty low. Because remember, the innovators and early adopters don't need to see that much of your stuff, but the bulk of your buyers do. Now, these numbers, I've seen different statistics, so we're just going to give the average of statistics. But you really want to consider that your ideal clients, that early majority, late majority type of people, the bulk of your audience, the bulk of your future buyers, they're only going to see about every 7 to 10 of your posts that you make, and they need to see 7 or 10 of your posts before they want to buy. So that's between 50, technically 49, that's between 50 and 100 posts from you before your ideal client is going to buy, right? Whoa. This is why having a consistent plan of action is important. Are you even posting 50 to 100 times in 6 months or a year? And the reason I'm asking you that is because I wasn't. I was not posting at that level when I first found this confidence work and I first started doing this work that I'm presenting to you. I know I wasn't. So this is not a condemnation. This is me looking in the mirror and remembering what it's like to be there and doing those 12 reps with a 5-pound weight once every couple of weeks and going, why aren't I getting any stronger? Why am I not getting any more clients when I'm only randomly posting? Why isn't this working? Nothing I post ever works anyway. This is never going to happen. Now, I had like 1 or 2 clients here or there. I had a couple of those early adopters, or I had people who had actually been following me for a very, very long time, even before I actually started offering coaching, right? They were there, love them, but that was not the bulk of my people. So the first step in taking more action is committing to taking that more action and really understanding why you want to take more action, why you want to be more consistent. Listen, you can grow as fast or as slow as you want. People have asked me, like, how long does it take to make 100K? And I'm like, I don't know. How fast or slow are you going to go? Doesn't matter how many hours you work. It really doesn't. Just know that your path is going to be slower. If it takes you 6 months to make 50 to 100 posts versus a month to make 50 or 100 posts, right? And yes, clients absolutely can happen in a moment. This is absolutely true. Some of your clients will not need a lot from you in order to buy from you. I have had people be introduced to me and pay me $10,000 in as little as a week to 10 days. Love those people. They are out there. But most are going to be looking for more from you. And that's okay, because you're going to get this now that I've really shared 50 to 100 posts before somebody buys. Now you're going to understand this after listening to this today, and you're going to be able that right there, that committing and really understand why it's that level of commitment is going to help you oh, of course, I just haven't even been doing enough, right? In Confident Coaches Mastermind, I've created this confidence to clients formula. And one piece of the formula is committing to some sort of action for 30 days. Okay. So that is something right out of the gate when you join the mastermind, you're going to be committing to something. Thankfully, you're going to be in the mastermind to deal with all of the mindset drama and all of the belief work and the thought work and the emotions work that needs to be there to drive that action. But you will be committing to that action. And I give you all of the tools that you need in order to decide what you're going to do, etc. Now, back to our strength training analogy. You want that stronger upper body, right? You know, you wouldn't just work your biceps every few weeks, right? You wouldn't just do bicep curls. You do bicep curls, and hammer curls and tricep dips and push-ups and the overhead press and the shoulder press and maybe some upright rows, right? We'd be working the entire upper body. In other words, there are multiple doorways. There are multiple ways to get to that stronger upper body. And there's multiple doorways to creating more engagement and more consults and more clients for you. So like, for instance, let's say you commit, the action is you're going to commit to posting on Instagram every day for a month, or at least 5 days a week. You wouldn't just post a part of your story every day, right? It wouldn't be the same kind of post. Like, so do you see that there's like the action that you're going to take, but then there's the variety of action within that. You might do an introductory post. Another post, you might share part of your story. In another post, you might share one of your tools or part of your process or your program if you have one. In another post, you might share a client success story. You might share a testimonial. In another post, you might share hey, here are 3 things to stop doing today. In another post, you might share, here are 3 myths that we're going to bust about X, right? So there's the consistency of action with the variety inside those actions. And the thing is so many of you are just sharing one thing. You're just sharing educational posts. You're just sharing a part of your story. And you're not connecting it at all to the person on the other end of what's the desired result that they want, what's the struggle that they are really having. And you're wondering why you aren't getting any further along. Couple this if you are also only posting every once in a while, and of course it makes sense that you don't have the results that you want. What's going to get you farther? Bicep curls every other week or a well-rounded upper body plan done every other day, right? It's the same thing here. And this is 100% another area that we cover inside CCM is all the variety of content ideas that you can brainstorm with the prompts that I provide. And each idea is just another doorway to your audience. We also cover daring offers, which is actually a podcast episode from, I think, just last month or the month before of how to really make that offer even more compelling. So the idea here is you are giving them lots of access to you in a variety of ways, even if you are only doing regular Instagram posts. They're still getting lots of variety within those Instagram posts. So you don't have to choose 27 different mediums. You can choose one medium, be consistent in that medium, and bring the variety within that medium right there. Okay, so what if you are posting a ton in a variety of ways and it's still not working? i.e., you're still not getting more engagement and more consults. I actually just coached a client on this today who said, I've posted, she committed, she's brand new in the most recent class, so they've only gone through 1 month of CCM by the time of this recording. And she shared, I posted on 3 different platforms every day for 30 days. I don't have any new consults. Something must be wrong. Now, on the surface, it might look like this isn't working, something's wrong, but let's go back to that strength training analogy. If I'm a personal trainer and that's my client, as your personal trainer, I'm going to be like, well, are you using strong enough weights? Is it your form? Is it your technique? Are you not stretching the muscle all the way down and all the way back up again? You'd start problem solving, right? I'd take a look at it. We'd dive in there. I'd see what you were doing. I'd help you pinpoint where, like, if this is all a big, like, interconnected puzzle, which puzzle piece is out of whack? Is it this one or is it this one? Well, let's tweak here and then let's see. All the pieces are there, but we're still not seeing the clear picture. What might be happening? This is why you evaluate and why a mastermind like CCM is so invaluable. You need to be able to problem solve the action you are taking so you can figure out what's not working and try other ways, try other turns of phrase, try different calls to action, try different ways of phrasing that call to action. Maybe move this piece up here and move that piece down there. How can I make this more compelling? Would this stop me in my tracks? Would this make me stop scrolling? Am I bored by what I wrote, right? Which can happen. Have you ever this is totally true. I have read some of my shit and been like, I'm halfway asleep halfway through, and it's my stuff. This is not good, right? Are you evaluating your work? Are you problem solving? And not losing your belief that you can still do this, and not losing your confidence that your result is inevitable. Remember, confidence is the inevitability of whatever it is you want to create. That's why we are here. This is why the Confident Coaches podcast exists. This is why the mastermind exists, because when you realize that confidence really is believing in the inevitability of your goal and that you are willing to do anything, try anything until you figure out how to get there. There's nothing you can't experience. There's nothing you're not willing to try. This is why we're here. Right? And with this client in particular, specifically, in just about 5 to 10 minutes during our weekly coaching call, she raised her hand. I coached her in front of the whole group. So everybody in the group heard this valuable coaching. We were able to get to this disconnect that she did have in her messaging on the results that she wants for the clients and what she thinks they want. And I was able to hold that space for her and ask her questions so that she could actually articulate those results even better than she had previously been doing. Oh, she was thinking that her clients were over here and she was over here. And actually we were able to find where they're in the exact same place. So now she can go test that out. She can put those puzzle pieces out there and see if they fit, right? So when you are taking a bunch of action and not getting the results you want, it's not that this isn't working. It's that something's not working. And I wonder what it is. Let me go dive deep into there and figure it out. And if you can't figure it out, having a group by your side to ask you the questions to help you solve for that is so priceless. And it is also a chance to mix things up. So maybe instead of a written post, you might do a live video or a recorded video. This is another way to take more action, is to mix up the actual action. So notice one thing. Notice that I'm not telling you to do a bunch of things and post a video and do this and do reels and do stories and do this. And that's just an Instagram, and then go post on LinkedIn. Notice that I'm not really telling you to do that. Taking more action does not necessarily mean more stuff and a variety of different actions, right? The variety is in the content that you're sharing in the different doorways, but it's actually a very similar action. You can sprinkle in some other things, and that might be something I would advise this client to do, who's been doing written copy for a month, and now she's going to maybe try some videos, maybe try it from this angle too, as well as mixing up her message. But I'm not telling her to go do 27 different things in 27 different places. You'll also notice that I'm not telling her to change her niche or change her pricing or change her package, right? I'm not advising her to change a bunch of the stuff. I'm going to advise my clients to be more consistent, to try a variety of doorways to the same message, and to be willing to evaluate and to critique that message until she lands on it. If she wants to sprinkle a couple of other actions like live video or recorded video amongst those written words, absolutely, let's give it a try. But notice that taking more action does not necessarily mean more and more and more action. It means better action, right? It means smarter action. It actually is very constrained action. It's very present with where you already are. And you're going to continue to work on your belief and lack of belief, and you continue your commitment to taking action and the why. And one additional step in this taking more action is actually having your own back when you don't show up to your plan, when you don't follow through on your commitment. I'm not going to go into a lot of that in this episode because we just talked about that in the Integrity and the 100K Earner episode a few weeks back. And you remember to look at the content prompts that I give you and make sure you're speaking to the struggles of your ideal audience and sharing with them the fix that you have for their struggles and the results that are possible for them when they work with you. These are all things that are available to you right now, but that we specifically define in Confident Coaches Mastermind. And ultimately, I really think taking more action really comes down to asking yourself, have I tried everything? Have I really tried everything? What haven't I tried? What ideas have I had that I haven't put out there yet? What thing do I really want to say, but I haven't said it yet? What rule am I afraid of breaking that might be exactly what I need to break? What judgment have I been avoiding that I don't have to worry about avoiding anymore? That's exactly the work that we're doing this week in the Make More Offers training and what we do week in and week out in Confident Coaches Mastermind, because this is the stuff that stops us right here, right? This is the stuff that gets in our way. This is the stuff that stops us, and it simply doesn't have to anymore. Because invariably, every single time, there are always ideas that my clients have that they've not yet put out there because they think their audience isn't big enough, or they think their audience isn't going to like it, or they think it's too controversial, or the opposite, they don't think it stands out enough. They have like a million different reasons why not to go through with that idea. And I'm here to help you get all of those obstacles out of the way. But what I really want to offer you is that if you're being inconsistent right now, or only giving them one angle of your story, only one of those doorways in, right? Or if you're not going in and evaluating your work and troubleshooting what may or may not be going right now, you're already feeling disappointed. You're not avoiding disappointment right now. You really aren't. Because your brain's telling you that this isn't working. It's telling you nothing I ever do works anyway, right? And then you're going to start feeling tentative, and you're going to start feeling cautious, and you're not going to want to go 100% in because you're going to start believing that this isn't really working anyway. Nothing I really do seems to get the results that I want. And what I want to offer you is that when you're willing to go 100% all in, and you're willing to bring those feelings of possible disappointment with you, like, don't shun disappointment. She's coming along for the ride. She's totally terrified and worried, right? Go ahead and let her in the room. Let her in the car with you. Let her along for the ride. We're just not going to give her the wheel. And even if you don't hit your goal when you go 100% all in, you will have learned so much more because you went all in, and then you can solve for that new thing you didn't even know about before. And you're going to go all in again. And you're going to keep posting, and you're going to keep trying. When it comes to being on your path to 100K, when it comes to truly being a confident coach who believes you can do what you've never done before, it involves trying literally everything that you can think of. How many different ways can you explain the struggles of your clients? How many different fixes do you have for those struggles that you can share? How can you explain both of these things simpler and easier than you've ever explained it before? What's the vision of what is possible for your clients when they work for you? How can you get crystal clear on those results that they're going to create when they work for you? And your willingness to keep sharing that over and over and over and over and over and over again, always critiquing, always evaluating, always asking how you can do it a little bit better and learn a little bit more each and every single time, and asking yourself, what haven't I tried? What idea do I have I haven't implemented yet? And making sure you're getting the coaching that you need to work on the belief aspects and to work on the feeling aspects that come before that action line. Your willingness to keep showing up every day and take the next best step, learning as much as you possibly can along the way until you create the results that you want. This is how it's done. Is it overnight success? Maybe not. I mean, maybe you'll be blessed with all those innovators and early adopters who only need to see one or two things from you, and then they can't help but want to work with you. It's completely possible. But for the majority of us, we're going to need to put in the reps, and you totally have everything you need. This is the action part of creating that 100K business. This is what we do in the mastermind. This is why you need to get your application in right now. If you already know this is the work that you want to do, we're enrolling for October right now, and there's really no reason, there's absolutely no reason for you to not join us. Because if this is what's standing between you and the 100K business, hello, this is it. This is your work. And if you're new to the podcast and you want a little bit more, like you're not an early adopter, you're not an innovator, it's totally fine. I'm talking to you right now. Connect with me in the Make More Offers training that's happening right now. All right, so what are we doing? You're going to commit to taking more action. Give your audience multiple doorways to you in those actions, and evaluate to see what you're learning, what's working and not working, and tweak until you get the result that you want. And getting coaching all along the process on all of the belief and all of the feels that come up along the way, because your Helga brain does always have lots to say. This is how to take more action right now. Okay. If you love this, I invite you to share this. Share this podcast episode with other coaches that need to hear this today. They've been talking about wanting to take more action. This is the episode for them. This is the one you need to share with them. Share this podcast in your Instagram stories. Tag me at I am Amy Latta. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to find the post for this podcast episode on Instagram or on my Facebook page. And I want you to share with me, what's the action you're committed to taking this month? Is it going to be posting in Facebook every day, posting in Instagram every day? Is it going to be hosting a webinar once a week? Is it going to be going to networking events and setting up one-to-ones with local people? Is it going to be another idea that maybe I haven't shared here? What's the action you're committed to taking this month? Share it with me on Instagram, find the post on Facebook, or heck, reply to the email. If you get emails from me, reply to the email that I sent and let me know. All right, my friends, I can't wait to see what you create. All right, Confident Coach, you right now, remember, until next week, let's go fuck some shit up, my friends. Coaches, I have created a brand new freebie offer just for you podcast listeners. I created a brand new training called Stop Overcomplicating Confidence, because I see my coaches do it all the time, make this confidence thing way harder than it has to be. In this free training, you're going to learn exactly how you overcomplicate confidence, what's creating that, and how to stop it. Here's the best part. All of it, less than an hour. Less than an hour of your time. You will feel more confident in less than an hour, right? Yeah, friends, this is the best training I've ever done. So visit amylatta.com/podcast gift to get yours. Again, that's amylatta.com/podcast gift. Go now and feel more confident in just an hour. Thanks so much for listening to the Confident Coaches podcast. I invite you to learn more. Come visit me at amylatta.com. And until next week, let's go do epic stuff.